Hello, hello. A warm welcome again, everyone who's joining behind the scene and also live on LinkedIn. So, really great that you make time in your busy schedule to be here and discover the roadmap to peak performance without burnout. So, my name is Irene Anggreeni. If you don't know me yet, I'm a mental fitness coach and also your partner in holistic leadership growth. And I'm excited to be guiding you in this workshop today. So, for everyone, if you feel like kind of just share in the chat good morning, afternoon, or evening based on your local time zone and where you're tuning in from. So I can start. Good afternoon from Rotterdam, the Netherlands. And I will move on with a quick check actually. So this is a quick check for us here. So if you feel a bit stuck in a task, do you generally feel more productive after taking a short break? So just reflect. I see, yeah, some thumbs up, some nodding, yes. So whatever it is for you, some take a walk or pet their cat or their dog or stretching. And you may notice, yes, absolutely. Some people think, oh, sometimes I need maybe a longer walk to be more productive again. But some of you, I want to acknowledge, you may doubt it, yeah, that you feel like, oh, it's wrong. It feels like procrastinating or avoiding. And perhaps if you do take a very short break, it's filled with guilty feeling or a vigilance that, oh, you'd be caught on a break and you'd be embarrassed. So it is my personal goal today that you leave this workshop with a mindset that, yes, taking a break, a pause, slowing down is a necessary part of your performance, of your productivity. So you can feel without any guilt to take it as needed because it's backed by science as well. So because why? Here's a little story to illustrate this. Yeah, so the other day I went to the cinema and I saw the trailer of this F1 movie, the Formula One. It's coming up soon. I think there's a Brad Pitt in it. So this is a great example to illustrate this point exactly. Yeah, so even in Formula One race, where time is the most crucial, the driver makes a complete steal at the pit stops. Why, you wonder? Because these are actually the crucial strategic tool that the team use to gain a competitive edge over the other teams. And also, this is really what makes or breaks the driver's race. So of course, there are a lot of technical things going on during the pit stop, but basically, there's like repair or maybe like the adjusting the aerodynamic so that the car is in optimal condition and the whole performance is maximized. And typically it happens in 2.5 seconds or less. And similarly, you want to deliver your best performance, right? But sometimes we are human, we forget to take that pit stop. And what happens then? So you keep going, but not in optimal condition. You may swerve, you may get derailed from your track or clash with others. So it's just a moment of maybe quiet reflection. Yeah, where in your life do you swerve or get derailed or clash? Yeah, so since you're not a racing car, your pit stop will be longer. Yeah, but you will discover in this workshop how to do that efficiently in a simple, actionable steps. So I want to also welcome Biswajit from LinkedIn. Yes, thank you all for tuning in, and also Anka and Selfie joining. Wow, welcome, a warm welcome. So a little housekeeping. Consider this as your pit stop moment. You can sit back, relax, and be present with what's in front of you. Yeah, and don't worry about taking notes or anything. The replay will stay on. You can go back at any moment. So see this as a kind of maybe a tutorial video. And for friends who are live right now on LinkedIn, there's a slight delay of 15-20 seconds. So just to keep in mind when interacting via chats. Yeah, it's not that I'm ignoring you, but there's a delay. And you will receive the recording and resources after this. And also the question and answer will be at the end. So if you have a burning question right now, you can type that in the chat and just put a hashtag question so that it's easier for me to find. So a quick reminder, this is our objective today. You will discover about how to apply mental fitness for your sustainable performance, and also practical techniques to intercept sabotaging thought patterns, and also a simple 3-to-1 mental fitness plan tailored to your busy life. And today's journey, just to give an overview, I'll give you some research background and also the core components of mental fitness, which is like the next 3 points. So there's the saboteur, the self-command, and the sage powers. And then we will close with integration and question and answer. So first, the research. So I'm pretty sure you likely already familiar with the concept of physical fitness. Yeah, think of what you can do when you're physically fit. So what about mental fitness? So mental fitness is based on the groundbreaking research in positive intelligence. It's your capacity to handle life's challenges with a positive rather than negative mindset. So we generally know how to measure and improve our physical fitness. For mental fitness, now we have validated research from positive intelligence, or PQ for short, to assess and methodically also strengthen our core mental muscles. Exciting, right? So the research foundation. What I appreciate about the work of mental fitness is that it's highly practical and it's also based on research. And this is a life's work of Shirzad Samin. He's a professor at the Stanford University and also one of the pioneers in coaching. He also authored the best-selling book, Positive Intelligence. And what more, this whole mental fitness concept is battle-tested with CEOs and their teams, also world-class athletes, and it's been validated with hundreds and thousands of participants globally. And it is synthesizing the scientific breakthrough from these domains, from neuroscience, cognitive behavioral psychology, positive psychology, and also performance science. And it's synthesized into positive intelligence as a framework. The biggest contribution of positive intelligence is through factor analysis. And through this process, we discover that there are core factors that impact both our performance and well-being. And what it results to is that now we know the root cause, and also it creates radical simplification in our personal development. So just like at the root of thousands of colors, like you see on the right, there's this paints. There are only 3 factors actually: red, blue, and yellow. So similarly, like in our mental fitness, there are only 3 core muscles at the root. Yeah, they are the muscles to first intercept and catch our saboteurs. Those are the negative factors. And also to build our self-command. We will practice together a technique in a bit. And also to strengthen our sage. This is the positive factors. And all of these muscles, these mental muscles, can be built into our daily activities. So just to give you an overview here, also through factor analysis, this research discovered that there are actually only 10 negative factors or saboteurs and only 5 positive factors or sage powers. So it really, there's not 37 things or 142 that you need to remember, only these 10 and 5. And they live in different parts of the brain. So the saboteurs live in the survival brain region, which is the brainstem, the limbic system, and also parts of the left brain. And the sage lives in another region, the middle prefrontal cortex, that govern our executive function, also the empathy circuitry, and parts of the right brain. And the saboteurs, it motivates you, all right, but through negative emotions, while sage motivates you through positive emotions. And saboteurs might generate success, but not happiness, while sage generates your highest success and also sustain happiness. So this is about really unlocking your full potential when you are in sage. Now I want to take a quick pulse check, because maybe you're thinking, I'm just fine. I don't think I need mental fitness. So here's the promise of this work, or the premise of this work, that each one of us actually has saboteurs, that we are regularly sabotaging our own performance, well-being, and relationships. And it's so deeply rooted in the subconscious that we are not always aware of it. Yeah, so if you, at the moment, like you have any doubt, like thinking, okay, maybe it's not for me, I just want to be happy, I don't want to chase success. So I'd love your permission, if you are there, to check with you whether it's coming from your sage or your saboteur. So to illustrate again, I want to show you this comparison. So perhaps you don't aim for peak performance like the Formula One driver. You like to take the scenic route towards your goal. You want to enjoy being with your loved ones. You don't want any rush, no hurry. But ask yourself honestly, you still want to get somewhere important, right? So there's no judgment here. Some may want to be like F1 racer, or the other wants the scenic route. You can type in the chat if you want to share which one you are. So I'm a scenic route driver myself. And earlier in my career as an engineer, I tried to be a Formula One racer. I was ambitious and I didn't know any better. I didn't take any pit stop to reflect or to adjust myself until I crashed. So as a result, I struggled with my mental health for quite a while. And through some changes, transformative changes in my life, now my worldview also changed. And now that I found my calling as a mental fitness coach, I know how important it is for me to deliver my best loving work to my clients. And at the same time, I remind myself also to slow down on a regular basis and enjoy the journey. So whichever you are, F1 racer or scenic route driver, you want to get somewhere important and meaningful to you. But as always, there's bound to be always stressful moments in life, even when it's exciting or positive, like getting a child or moving to a nicer house or getting married. And also the usual stressors of at work, for instance, like deadlines or difficult conversations or feeling overwhelmed with all your tasks. And through all this life experience, this is what I want you to realize, that your mind can be your best ally or your worst enemy. And if it's the latter, that's a sign that your mental fitness needs some strengthening, because you might feel like you want to accelerate, but there's a lot of friction. Your old thought habits subconsciously hit the brake, that you are sabotaged from moving forward with ease and flow. You can imagine it can be frustrating and exhausting because the journey feels heavier and harder. So I can tell you with 100% certainty that we've all had those moments. I mean, if no one never has that moment can raise their hand. No, I don't think anyone never. We all had been there. Where our saboteurs are hijacking us from achieving our important goals. And this is something very human, and it affects everyone. Now visualize when you're feeling calm and in control, what becomes possible? What can you achieve more easily for yourself maybe with your team as well. So in most cases, I can tell you that you are going to deliver your best performance and also at the same time improve your sense of well-being, and you elevate others with you. So in the bigger picture here, we are doing this work not for selfish reasons, but for others as well. And that's my invitation to you, to prioritize your mental fitness because it will impact more people, not just you. So let's dive into the first component of mental fitness, the saboteurs. Let me ask you this first. Are negative emotions good for you? Okay, I see some head shaking. Okay, so it's more layered, it's more nuanced, the answer. It's not straightforward. Now, as comparison, is pain good for you? Sometimes, okay. So imagine, yeah, pain is, is useful, is helpful as an alert. Yeah, so this is the answer. You don't have to agree with this. But similar to pain, negative emotions also, they are only helpful for 1 second as an alert signal, right? And if you stay in that negative emotion, or like it's like keeping your hand on the hot stove, yeah, so it hurts your ability to see clearly and to respond wisely to whatever challenge you have. And this is crucial because, like, if you notice negative emotions lingering in you, that means you have saboteurs active. Yeah, so let's catch them. So the first saboteur, I think everyone recognizes this. This is the universal saboteur. This is the one that beats you up over mistakes or shortcomings, and wakes you up in the middle of the night worrying and gets you fixated on what's wrong with life, with myself, with others, and so on. The judge. Yeah. And there are 3 ways the judge operates. So judging self, like what's wrong with me? Judging others, what's wrong with you? Or judging circumstances, like this is bad, why this keep happening to me? And based on your personality and past experiences, we can develop these other accomplished saboteurs. Now, by the way, you don't need to remember all this. I will share a resource, a short assessment quiz to discover your saboteurs. Now, think of a challenge you faced recently. Maybe at work or at home or at Toastmasters. And notice what uncensored inner voice comes up. Yeah, and if it feels negative, that means that's the saboteur. Yeah, and just to give you some concrete example, let's go through this different saboteur's voice. So of course we had already the judge, that's the harsh critic, yeah, often loaded with blame. And we have also the accomplished saboteur, for instance, the controller, and this creates a tendency to control everything and everyone around in order to feel secure. Yeah, and it often shows itself by this pushing behavior, like I need to push myself or I need to push other people because otherwise nothing gets done. Yeah, that's a controller. And we also have the hyperachiever. So if you have this hyperachiever saboteur, you may feel that no achievement is ever enough. I'm always asking what's next because I'll only be happy when, and the goalposts keep moving. The restless sabotage you by keeping you distracted by what's new and exciting. And as a result, you spread yourself too thin, keeping busy with the low-hanging fruits, but not going all in or deep enough into something. And stickler can show up as the perfectionist that's allergic to mistakes. And if you are one, maybe like you feel like that's a good quality, I care about it, that everything is perfect. But in the working in a team, for instance, like it could be a challenge, could present a challenge. Like if you ask someone with this stickler a tendency to present a work in progress, or just to tell me where you are at, it's going to be a real hard thing to do for a stickler, because they don't want to show anything that's not yet perfect. Pleaser, and this is, I'm a recovering people pleaser. This is the saboteur that loves to constantly help others, rescuing others with the hope to be liked. But in the process, they're neglecting their own needs, and they become resentful. Like, I always help others, but what do others give me in return? This resentment. Or the hypervigilant, who's always fueling this anxiety, this continuous anxiety about what could go wrong. The avoider tends to lose his self in comforting routines and procrastinates on the unpleasant tasks. Maybe this problem will sort itself out if I ignore it. Or the victim, which is very much delved in the negative narrative and self-pity, and often also resentment to the world that is diverting the attention from getting things done, from getting into a positive direction. And lastly, hyper-rational. So I encountered this a lot, and this is also something I relate with earlier in my career. There's it's driving the intense and exclusive focus on the rational processing of everything, including in relationships, for instance, that requires more heart, actually. And the voice, kind of like, I only care about people, what people can do for me. Everything else, like feelings, emotions, are irrelevant. So if any of these saboteurs sounds relatable or familiar, I want to warn you, it's not to analyze or point fingers to others, like my boss is or my partner is, because this is the work that starts from yourself. And what's important also is that, don't feel down, like if you notice, I have so many saboteurs. Because underlying all these saboteurs are actually your natural greatest strength. Yes, you heard that right. So underlying these saboteurs are actually your natural greatest strength. Even if you consider it as a weakness, as your kind of like, this is point of improvement in my life. But that's actually your natural greatest strength that's been overused and perhaps abused. That instead of helping you, they become sabotaging force in your life. So, what's your top saboteur? And reflect also, in which way is it impacting you? Just a moment of quiet reflection, or you can write down things in your journal or in the chat if you feel so inclined. Because for sure, it's going to waste some time, some of your mental, emotional energy, and it creates, like maybe your productivity, your performance will suffer, also of your teams perhaps. And also it creates potential conflicts. Because, and this is neuroscientifically proven as well, if we are in the negative saboteur mode, we tend to activate others' saboteurs as well. So this is like already based on research. So, okay. Thank you for sharing. I see a lot of saboteurs that I relate as well. So what to do then? Now we know about our saboteurs, so what to do? And this is where we are invited to practice our self-command. Because knowing alone is not enough. We also need to have this self-command mastery to change direction. Yeah. So we use an exercise called PQ reps. Yeah, PQ is short for positive intelligence, to train our self-command muscle. And we do this for two reasons. First is to quiet the saboteur chatter, and second, to activate the sage brain. Yeah, remember, they live in different parts of the brain. And each PQ rep is around 10 seconds, or the length of 3 breaths, more or less. And basically what it is, in a sense, it's about practicing no hard thinking. Yeah, not analyzing whatever challenge, whatever situation. So we need to activate our whole brain, yeah, to solve a situation usually, and engage our sage powers of empathy, creativity, innovative thinking, intuition, focus, and so on. But kind of if we are doing hard thinking, we are only using the analytical part, which is not bringing us far. So let's try this right now. Yeah, this PQ rep, this is something safe you can do at home. And in fact, we can do that right now together. Basically, no hard thinking, just observing, using your senses. So if you want, join me. I will demonstrate with my powerful fingertips. You can do the same. You don't need to raise your fingertips. I mean, if you want to show it, welcome. But basically, just rub 2 fingertips gently with just enough pressure that you can feel the ridges of your fingers. And put all your attention there. Notice the sensation. And now bring this hand to rest on your belly. And notice the sensation of rising and falling with each breathing in and breathing out. Okay, now let's use our sense of hearing. So you can, if you find the furthest away sound that you can hear. And if it helps, you can close your eyes or just lower your gaze. You find the furthest away sound you can hear. And now shift your attention to the nearest sound you can hear. Now gently open your eyes if they are closed. And find an object in front of you to practice visual PQ rep. Yeah, just notice maybe any new details that you've never seen before in this object in front of you. Maybe new color, new pattern, new shadows. And now open up your focus. Yeah, soften your focus so that you're not just looking at one thing. And notice what you're feeling right now. Now, if you were to scan your brain using functional MRI, yeah, your brain region associated with your sage powers slightly lights up. And the regions associated with the saboteurs, like stress, anxiety, anger, and so on, gets quieter. And when you do this practice consistently, your brain patterning will change and it will be observable through functional MRI. Yeah, so for the rest of this session, if you feel like, oh, let me practice this. You can keep practicing, yeah. And that brings us actually to the component, the final core muscles, the sage. Yeah, because what we did just now, that activates our sage brain or sage power. And these are the regions of the brain that are associated with positive emotion, with peace and calm, and with focus, creativity, and intuition, big picture thinking. And this allows you to operate from the sage perspective. That is, that every outcome or circumstances can be turned into a gift and opportunity. And you generate the gift by using your sage powers. That's how you strengthen your sage. So the sage perspective requires your whole brain, yeah, not just the analytical part. Yeah, we know that you are really good at analyzing and thinking in that way, the hard thinking. So the sage also invites skills like empathize, explore, navigate, innovate, and activate. These are the 5 sage powers. And I'll go through them one by one. Yeah, the empathize. This is your capacity to deeply understand people's feelings, needs, and desires, including your own. So that even in the most challenging situation or a conflict, that you develop the sensitivity to speak and act compassionately. Yeah, that you can, you know what to say in a loving and compassionate way. And that brings us to the second sage power, the explore power. This is where you are able to discover all the important factors contributing to a specific problem or situation before you jump into a conclusion. Yeah, sometimes like when you notice you're jumping into conclusion, that's already the judge speaking. So explore is the counter for that. And sometimes, like there's like the problem can be also involving other people. So the guiding question in explore is really about, without blame or judgment, yeah, what are the relevant factors that are contributing to this problem. And only after we have this big picture, yeah, or bigger picture, then we can practice our innovate power. And this is made possible also with the big picture thinking, but also with the creativity, because creativity is about connecting the dots. Yeah, we are not just like, okay, there's factors here, factors there, but how do we connect them in a way that makes sense? And there's a very very nice game actually to boost your innovate power. If you're doing improv, you're probably familiar with this. It's quite similar to the yes and game. Yeah, and basically you park the judge aside. Yeah, so there's no criticizing, no evaluating while you innovate. And you can do this with a partner or a team. You just come up with ideas to solve something, for instance. And even if you don't agree with the idea, there's at least 10% that you appreciate, or 10% that feels, oh, no, that's nice, that's right. So what I like about that idea is, and that inspires another idea. Yeah, so this is really a nice game to boost innovate power together. And we come to the navigate power. This is really about choosing a direction or a solution that aligns with your values, with your mission, with your purpose, with who you are, with your moral compass, with your inner compass. And often the innovate is maybe not the big challenge, but among all these possibilities, now how do you choose ones that actually the right one, yeah, that is in alignment with who you are? And the navigate can really open a deep, provoking reflection. This is the guiding question. Like at the end of your life, looking back, or maybe at the end of the project, looking back, what would you consider to be the most important in this situation? And that leads us to the last sage power, the activate. This is the power I'm working on because that's my weakest. So usually, when you determined to do something, you want to take fearless, calm, clear-headed, laser-focused action. This is usually when the saboteurs rise up. Yeah, there's an uprising of the saboteurs again because they want to protect you from any potential failures and so on. So we need to anticipate those saboteurs by preparing your sage response. Yeah, so if you already practice the catching saboteurs, you get to know them and how will they try to derail you from your action, and what would your sage response be? Now it's a time of maybe a moment of choosing, and also consider for yourself, what is the sage power that you will use to help you overcome your current challenge? Yeah, is it the empathize or the explore or navigate or innovate or activate? So you can type in the chat. Yeah, for me it's all about activate. Okay, so integrate. Now we are coming to a closing. We have integration and also some questions and answer. So to integrate, to bring it all together. Yeah, your 3-to-1 mental fitness plan. So what to do? So first, if you're feeling any negative emotions, stop. Yeah, that means you're in saboteur mode. And do some PQ reps to quiet the saboteurs and activate your sage brain. And then use your sage powers. Yeah, don't forget, this is also important to build your sage muscle. Use your sage power to convert the problem into a gift and opportunity. And that could mean also taking a specific step to weaken the saboteur. And also to figure out, what is needed now. Is it the empathize, the explore, navigate, innovate, or activate? Yeah, because you don't use all 5 powers at once. For instance, if you want to, if you notice, in your team, they seem a bit low motivated, they're not so engaged, you want to activate them, but maybe consider that empathize might be the more fitting power to use at that point. So just to show you, it's another representation of the same plan. Yeah, it's a more visual. So basically, catch your saboteur, pick your rep, activate your sage brain, and use your sage powers and ask, what's needed now. Now, there are some questions that I received. So this is maybe interesting, and maybe there are more questions. Yeah, I'm aware that on the Google Meet, there's a time limit. So I will share a link, if we get cut off. So how do I know when I'm mentally fit? Yeah, this is a question. So the answer is, when the ratio of how often your mind is serving you versus sabotaging you is 3-to-1. This is based on some research, and actually there's an assessment tool to help you figure out what is your ratio, and it gives you your PQ score, or it's a positivity quotient. So when it's 75% or above, that means 3-to-1 or above, then your mind naturally is in an uplifting vortex of positivity. Yeah, then you are mentally fit. And this gives a great context also to answer another question related to early signs of burnout. Yeah, so I've been there, and typically like the symptoms of burnout is you feel like mental, physical, emotional exhaustion. So there's like very negative view about the world, and it could be expressed as cynicism or anger. And this don't happen overnight, right? It builds up over time. And to catch the earliest sign, it's really about noticing your thoughts and emotions. And your thoughts, emotions, okay, some are neutral, some are positive, some are negative. And do an honest check. What is the ratio, like roughly? Or you can do the assessment. I will send you later. What is the ratio of positive versus negative? Yeah, and if it's lower than 3:1, this ratio, so it's really a sign that, okay, you need to build your mental fitness. And this one is not really a question, but it's a concern I hear a lot. Like, I don't have time, I'm too busy. Yeah, so these PQ reps that we did together in the exercise is actually very much applicable to all your daily activities. Yeah, at least like some things that you do on regular basis. I know I take shower every day or wash my hands multiple times a day. That's perfect, like for engaging your tactile sense, yeah, to really be present and noticing the sensations. Or when you're waiting in line, waiting in traffic, yeah, instead of getting upset, like, oh, this is a perfect opportunity to practice PQ reps, strengthen your self-command. Or every tea or meal or snack time. And also in a video call or in a phone call, yeah, you can hear, this is the with the audio PQ rep, or when you're talking with someone, really look at that person. What new detail can you find about them? Yeah. Or while getting a haircut. So yesterday I was at the hairdresser, and usually it always like when my judge comes up, will they do it correctly and so on. But I just close my eyes and listen to the sound of the scissors, like snip, 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 and so on. So you will have, your own opportunity based on what you do day by day. And a question here, is it really possible to shift from saboteur to sage even in tough challenges? So the answer is yes, but the speed and the depth of the shift depends on your mental muscle strength. Yeah. So if you do if you go to the gym, you just do one rep, like lifting one time. Yeah, maybe it doesn't do much, but you do that consistently, and then your muscle gets stronger, and then you can lift heavier. And that's the same thing here. So when we want to create lasting positive change, it's not enough just knowing about it, just having the insights, the knowledge. It's only 20%. But then the major part of it is that you do the action. You do the muscle building. And again, don't get discouraged. Yeah, if you do this PQ reps, for instance, for 1 or 2 days, and then you don't see any immediate results, because your success requires intense initial practice. So according to the research, yeah, there's like the neuroscience and the observable change in your brain, it starts, you can see that after 6-8 weeks of consistent practice. And consistent practice also, it can be like 15 minutes throughout the day. And another question, what could this mental fitness program actually deliver? What can it do for you? So over 2,000 participants that have participated, and they also answered the assessment, they reported greater well-being and increased performance, and also stronger relationships. And already within the first 6 weeks, in the well-being, like they increase their happiness, in their stress management, and also in their confidence, in the performance space. They are better at teamwork, at collaboration, and also improve their ability to coach and develop others. and they're just more efficient with their mental and emotional energy. And also stronger relationships, because this is also about building your empathy, and then you are better also at the conflict management. So hopefully this compels you to go all in into building your mental fitness. Yeah. And maybe to wrap this up, just to create that commitment in yourself, what is the number one action item that you are committing to from this session? Okay. You can share in the chat if you want to share that, so to create like collective accountability. And for now, I want to thank you for being here. Yeah, this is the end of the presentation. And to close it with, I want to mention to you about the possible next steps, because I'm really passionate about you all getting the most out of this. So I'll be sharing some resources. If you are registered, you'll get it by email, don't worry. And one of these resources is the SAGE implementation call next week, Tuesday, 24th of June, same time. I will include the link also in the email. And if you want to work on your mental fitness to really go towards your peak performance with less friction without burning out, one scientific and research-backed way to do it is by doing the PQ program, the Positive Intelligence Program. I've done it myself and it's life-changing. And in the implementation call this coming Tuesday, you'll have the opportunity to ask any questions to decide if this is for you or not. Yeah. And at the very least, please take what you discovered today and make a start there. So perhaps share this recording with your friend or with your team and support each other to catch the saboteurs and be each other's accountability as well to act more sage. Okay, so I see, yeah, Joanna already is very curious about PQ reps. And Janelle will practice the PQ reps. Wonderful. Create opportunities for breaks. Can I share how we can work with you? Yes, I can do that in your wrap-up email. So lastly, before I stop streaming, I would appreciate your feedback, whatever it is. Like, what's your aha, what you liked, or what I can improve. It's the Toastmaster spirit, like always open for feedback. So welcome to share in the chat or DM or via email later. So I wish you a good continuation of your day.